So we're gonna start
I had to tell Jamie.
talking history here.
Yeah. Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Ken Rutherford, and as Chair of the Board of Historic Resources, I hereby call this meeting to order. Take action to discuss or transact the business statutorily required or necessary to continue the operation of the Board of Historic Resources. The board is assembled in person at the Virginia Museum of History and Culture in Richmond. The HR is also presenting today's meeting virtually to facilitate attendance by individuals unable to physically attend, and the meeting is being recorded. Deputy Director Williams, will you please proceed with roll call?
Yes, Ms. Georgiani,
Here.
Dr. Spivey,
Here.
Mr. Towns,
Here.
Mr. Bosket,
Here.
and Ms. Hudson,
Here.
and Chair Rutherford.
Here. The Department of Historic Resources, the Board of Historic Resources, and the State Review Board acknowledge the indigenous peoples of Virginia and express its gratitude for their continued stewardship of her lands and waterways over many generations. We also acknowledge the free and enslaved Africans and their descendants whose labors and contributions on behalf of the Commonwealth have long been overlooked. We commit ourselves to meaningful engagement with all Virginians, past and present, as we strive to fulfill our charge as stewards of Virginia's long and rich history. The Virginia Board of Historic Resources is an official policymaking board of the Commonwealth of Virginia, created by the Code of Virginia. Its policies are implemented by the Department of Historic Resources, which day in, day out, labors on behalf of our irreplaceable resources in the interest of the citizens of this Commonwealth. The board is charged primarily with the responsibility for 1, designating historic landmarks of local, statewide, or national significance. 2, establishing historic preservation practices for the care and management of our Virginia historic landmarks. 3, designating state-recognized historic districts and archaeological sites and zones. 4, approving historical highway markers. 5, reviewing programs and services of the agency and making recommendations to the director of DHR and the governor regarding programs and services and in order to preserve important sites and buildings in perpetuity. And 6, accepting voluntarily granted gifts of preservation easements over historic properties in the Commonwealth. The governor of Virginia selects members of the board from volunteer and professional leaders of Virginia's history, preservation, and museum communities. Votes taken during this meeting are official actions of the Commonwealth of Virginia Board of Historic Resources. We are joined today by Andrew Tarnan and Wes Morgan of the Office of Attorney General, DHR staff, and the agency director, Julie Langen. All board members and most of the department staff participating are here in person in today's meeting. We also have some members of the public here with us today, and others will be joining us virtually. This is a public meeting and will be streamed online, and the online feed will be recorded. I now invite my fellow board members to introduce themselves.
Hi, everyone. Mary Pope Hudson. I'm president of Sweetbriar College, and I live in and on the campus of Sweetbriar. Glad to be here.
Jamie Bosket, President and CEO of the Virginia Museum of History and Culture, live here in Richmond.
Amy Georgiani, architect of the Capitol, Falls Church.
I'm Martin Towns. I'm the Deputy Butler of the Executive Mansion of Virginia, also the Mansion Historian, and I'm from King William County.
My name is Ashley Spivey. I am an anthropological consultant working with tribal communities across the United States, and I'm a member of the Pamunkey Indian tribe living in King William, Virginia.
And I'm Ken Rutherford, professor of political science at James Madison University, and I live in Harrisonburg, Virginia. The Virginia Board of Historic Resources desires to hear the viewpoints of interested citizens, but also needs to conduct its business in an orderly and efficient manner. Therefore, the next portion of the meeting provides an opportunity for a general public comment on items not normally formally part of the promulgated or adopted agenda. This portion of the meeting is intended as an opportunity to identify matters of interest and concern, and the role of the Virginia Board of Historic Resources is to listen and potentially provide direction to staff or follow-up, and not to formally respond to speakers or take official action on matters presented. If matters broached during the public comment portion of the agenda seem to warrant board attention and discussion and are within the board's authority, then those matters may be styled as a formal agenda item for subsequent board meetings. In consideration of the time constraints associated with regular board agenda items, speakers during the public comment period are requested to limit their presentation to a maximum of 3 minutes. Upon recognition by the chair, we ask that speakers clearly state their name and then directly address their comments to the board. The board also asks the speakers refrain from making references to specific individuals. And as a reminder, board members will not officially respond to speakers or take action on matters presented. At this time, we invite any members of the public who signed in, either in person or online, to offer their public comment. Our first speaker is Emmett Heltzel. You have 3 minutes at the podium, sir, or wherever you desire. Thank you. Yep.
Go Vixens.
That makes sense.
My youngest daughter is a proud 2012 graduate.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. My name is Emmett Heltzel. I'm the Vice Chair of the History and Heritage Committee in the American Society of Civil Engineers. I've been a member of that society since I was an undergraduate student at the Virginia Military Institute in civil engineering. I think the narrative that we put together for your consideration for the Parkway speaks for itself. I'll just say to us, it's a national engineering treasure, but to the Commonwealth, it is certainly a historical treasure. I'm proud to represent my society in putting forward our nomination. And I also want to thank Dr. Liu, who worked with me to set that. It was a very easy process, and my compliments to the staff. And I look forward to the board's favorable action. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. My son was also a civil engineering major at VMI. Yeah. Yeah. He has a job. Our next speaker is Jennifer Paulson Lee.
Hi there. Thank you all for this opportunity. I'm Jennifer Paulson Lee. I live in Daleville, Virginia, and I'm representing or sponsoring the marker application for the trail. So I'm just thrilled to be able to stand in front of you, and this has been such a wonderful process. I also thank Dr. Lewin for that easy conversation back and forth. I'm sponsoring this on behalf of my family, my neighbors, and the county, Botetourt County, through which the bicycle trail runs right across the front of my property. So we're really thrilled. It comes at a unique time. It celebrates. It was born out of the 200th, the bicentennial, the 200th anniversary of our declaration, and here we are at the 250th. And things are strangely similar. That period of time in the early 70s, the unrest, and where we are today. And I think it celebrates a mode of transportation that's quiet, that's introspective and retrospective, and provides opportunity at a slower pace to meet people, which was one of the objectives of the original founders of this, that we take the time to talk, and it brought a unity of the nation. So I think it's a wonderful thing to celebrate, and I appreciate your attention to this marker. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Lee. Our next speaker is Ina Dixon.
Hi, my name is Ina Dixon. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. And I'm here on behalf of the Pennsylvania Historical Society as well as the Gilbert family in regards to the Gilbert's restaurant marker. The Gilbert's restaurant and tourist home is on the national and state registers of historic places. But I think this marker will help us further bring this great story to the public. Gilbert's was built, owned, and operated by a Black family in Chatham, Virginia. And it was owned and operated in a time of social and political forces that were propagating division and prejudice under Jim Crow, racial segregation. And Gilbert's restaurant really was a haven and a hub for civil rights, and not only civil rights, but community. People like Fats Domino would stay there, James Earl Jones, when other doors were closed to them throughout the United States. Local NAACP chapters met there. Lawyers like Oliver Hill would stop and have a meal and work with other civil rights defense lawyers to find justice and civil rights for all Americans. And Gilbert's restaurant is itself a very modest building, but that modesty belies the real significant history that it can tell us. And this history is that it's not just through grand historic gestures that we change a nation, that we make it a better one, but it's through small acts, providing spaces, providing meals, providing hospitality, warmth, and kindness. And it's that way, through those small acts, that we can change the nation, especially when we are up against times of division. So with that, I really thank you for your time and your consideration for this marker, and thank you to the DHR staff for your help in getting this through. So thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Tyson Gilpin.
Historical societies. And the passion is 110%.
Board members, my name is Tyson Gilpin. I'm from Millwood, Virginia. Practice law in Winchester, prosecuted cases, defense attorney, general law practice all my life. And I'm here to speak on behalf of Thomas Laws, a Black spy who caused Sheridan's victory, the third battle of Winchester, led to Lincoln's winning the election and Lee's defeat. Incredibly important spy work that this man did. Remarkable because he was 48 years old, a peaceful man who sold vegetables in Winchester, an African American. And why he risked his life for this cause, for when Sheridan called upon him, passing through the Confederate lines, living in Mosby country. We debate this in Winchester all the time. What motivated this man to do this? The Josephine Museum, an African American museum in Berryville. He's buried right behind the museum. And of course, those members are very elderly. They're on the Zoom call at this moment. But it was interesting. We had a Laws Award that the museum gave. And I was excited. He was a warrior, a strange warrior, a peaceful man. But the award was written to emphasize that this man was trying to build a community. It was written by the Josephine Museum, and the award was described as given to a man who helped build his community. And I can't. I'm a retired lawyer at this point, but I've never advocated for a client that if he can be call my client. He has no choice in that, I guess, at this point. But I'm most proud of this cause and hope you will give it consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Tyson. The next speaker is Adelea Akale. Hard for me to. It was on Zoom. Okay. Deputy Director Williams, next speaker is signed in, but she's on Zoom.
Oh, okay.
Mixed in with the in-person. What? I don't know how. We have one more in person. Okay. Our next speaker is in person, and then we'll go to the Zoom. The citizens on Zoom, Brent Whittlesby. Whittleson. I gotta get new glasses.
That looks like a B. I
Yeah.
had to defend John.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brent Whittlesey. I'm here on behalf of the board of the Josephine Community School Museum. The members of the board believe that Thomas Laws is deserving of recognition with a highway marker, and we hope that the commission will agree with that. There are good reasons to recognize Thomas Laws with a marker. In 1864, Thomas Laws was asked by his nation to put himself at risk of death in order to assist the Federal Army of the Shenandoah. Even though he was enslaved, Mr. Laws responded to the request for help without reservation and provided crucial information to General Philip Sheridan that gave the general confidence that he could defeat the Confederate forces in Winchester. The information that Mr. Laws carried to General Sheridan was also crucial to General Grant's decision to allow the attack on Winchester at that time. Sheridan's victory at the Third Battle of Winchester was the first step in clearing the Shenandoah Valley of Confederate forces. It also provided a boost to President Abraham Lincoln's 1864 presidential campaign. Thomas Laws appeared in the drama of the Civil War 161 years ago at a crucial moment, and he did not miss the opportunity to make a difference. A marker highlighting his bravery may inspire others to answer their nation's call when they are asked to do so.
Thank you, sir. Deputy Director Williams.
All right, thank you. We have 4 people that have signed up to speak virtually today. The first is Demetrix Brockman Sampson. Demetrix Brockman Sampson. Is he online today? All right, we do not see him online. Next, we have Adila Al-Khalili. All right, you are unmuted and you may begin your comments. Adila Al-Khalili. All right, we'll move on to the next speaker, Dorothy Davis. Ms. Davis online? All right, Ms. Davis, you are unmuted and you may begin your comments. Ms. Davis, you're unmuted and you may begin your comments. All right, we'll move on to the last speaker, Devette Hams. Do we see Devette Hams online?
I'm not seeing that one.
All right, so Demetrix Brockman Sampson, no. Adila Al-Khalili. You are unmuted and may begin. All right, Dorothy Davis. I'll try her one more time. Ms. Davis, you're unmuted and you may begin your comments. All right, and do we have Devette Hines? Okay, that concludes our public comment period. Thanks.
Thank you, Deputy Director Williams. Thank you. The public comment portion of this meeting is now closed. I'd like to introduce Dr. Jennifer Liu, who will present the historical highway marker portion of today's business.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. And my name is, again, Jennifer Lukes, and I'm the Highway Marker Program Manager here at DHR. And I'll be presenting the marker agenda for today. So let's start things off with the new markers. And first we have Cypress Chapel Christian Church in Suffolk. According to tradition, Christian worship near this site began about 1750. A Church of England chapel was completed in 1760, but was abandoned following the Revolutionary War. Then a congregation affiliated with the Christian Church, which was a denomination organized in 1794 after splitting off from the Methodists, moved into the abandoned building, and they became known as Cypress Chapel Christian Church. The Reverend William B. Wellens, a nationally prominent leader in that denomination who had been ordained there in 1846, served as the pastor until 1872. The present sanctuary was built in 1925. Next, the Danville Canal, City of Danville. John Barnett built a canal in 1794 that evolved from a mill race into a linchpin of the region's transportation network. The Roanoke Navigation Company, a joint effort by Virginia and North Carolina to promote commerce by improving waterways, enhanced the 3/4 mile long canal in the mid-1820s. 50 enslaved laborers built locks, basins, and a wing dam, facilitating travel around the falls of the Dan River and making coastal markets more accessible to the interior. Goods were transported on bateaux operated primarily by free and enslaved African Americans. The canal was later repurposed in the 1880s to power Danville's textile industry. Antioch Rosenwald School in Matthews County. At the urging of African American women in the Susan community, African American men built a log school about 1869. Antioch Baptist Church, which was organized around that time, met there in its early years. In 1926-27, a new school was built on the site for grades 1 through 7. Contributions came from the Black community, a very large contribution of $3,700. Funding also came from the county and from the Julius Rosenwald Fund, which was established in 1917 by the president of Sears, Roebuck and Company, and inspired by the work of educator Booker T. Washington. Rosenwald funding helped build about 5,000 schools across the South, and there were 3 of them in Matthews County. Antioch School, which was a community hub of social and cultural activity, closed in 1948. Dr. Elburn Grady Gill in the city of Roanoke. Dr. Gill, a native of Bedford County, opened the Gill Memorial Eye, Ear, and Throat Hospital in 1926. Through the hospital, one of the first of its specialty in Virginia, Gill hosted annual congresses that offered postgraduate courses for eye, ear, nose, and throat specialists. By featuring renowned faculty, including current and future Nobel Prize winners, these conferences attracted physicians from across the U.S. Gill, a charter member of the Roanoke Lions Club, served a term as president of Lions International in 1943 to 44. A leader in Roanoke civic life, he chaired the Board of Health for 25 years. The Blue Ridge Parkway, this marker would be placed in Nelson County. Just west of the proposed marker site is the northern terminus of the Blue Ridge Parkway, a 469-mile-long scenic route that links Shenandoah National Park in Virginia with Great Smoky Mountains National Park in North Carolina. An internationally recognized feat of landscape architecture and engineering, the parkway was designed to highlight the scenery and cultural heritage of Southern Appalachia and to stimulate the region's economy during the Great Depression. This project, led by the National Park Service, relied on the collaboration of federal agencies, New Deal public works programs, private contractors, and the governments of the 2 states. Constructed between 1935 and 1987, the parkway is the longest linear park in the U.S. Gilbert's Restaurant in Pittsylvania County. The Reverend Robert G. Gilbert built this restaurant about 1945 as a cafe, a store, gas station, and tourist home for Black patrons during Jim Crow segregation. He and his wife, Arzelia, ran the business until 1971, after which their son and daughter-in-law operated it primarily as a restaurant until it closed in 1999. Located on US Route 29, a major artery connecting the Mid-Atlantic and the Deep South, the enterprise was a regional hub for the Black community and a haven for Black travelers. Among those who stayed or dined there were Fats Domino, Lloyd Price, the Singing Siamese Twins, James Earl Jones, and defense attorneys for the Martinsville 7 case. Patrick Central School in Patrick County. In the late 1940s, as federal courts were requiring equity for segregated schools, the African American community in Patrick County campaigned for a consolidated school to replace inadequate facilities. In 1952, Patrick Central School opened to serve the county's African American students in grades 1 through 12, providing them with a full high school education for the first time. Its athletic teams, clubs, and cultural events fostered community cohesion and pride. Alumni worked in education, government, medicine, engineering, the military, and many other fields. Patrick Central was closed in 1946 when the county fully desegregated its schools to comply with federal guidelines. And next, the Trans-America Bicycle Trail marker would go in Botetourt County. In 1973, after a decade in which recreational cycling became increasingly popular among young Americans, 4 cycling enthusiasts began planning Bike Centennial 76 to mark the nation's bicentennial. The months-long event, inaugurated at Jamestown in May 1976, featured tours along a specially designed route known as the Trans-America Bicycle Trail, and it stretched 4,250 miles on public roads from Yorktown all the way to Oregon. Roughly 4,100 riders from the U.S. and beyond encountered rural vistas, small communities, and historic points of interest as they made their way across the country. The eastern third of the Trans-America Trail, including more than 500 miles in Virginia, was designated U.S. Bicycle Route 76 in 1982. So those are our group of new markers up for approval today. So I would like to ask the board for their consideration of these new markers.
Is there any discussion among the board? Any questions? Dr. Lux? May I have a motion to approve the new highway markers numbered 1 through 8?
Move approval.
Second.
Amy is brought it to the floor. Second it. I need to say that for the audio. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion passes.
All right, thank you. Our next segment here is replacement markers. And we don't usually address these individually, but board members saw the original text as well as the updated texts in their packets. And so we'd like to ask for approval of this group of 5 replacement markers.
Is there any discussion? May I have a motion to approve the replacement markers numbered 1 through 5?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 The motion passes.
Thank you. Next, we'll be considering the applications that we received at our August 1st deadline. DHR received 16 marker applications, which you can see here. And a committee of DHR staff members scored these in accordance with the rubric that the board approved several years ago. And our recommendations for approval are the following. So we ask the board to approve the topics numbered 1 through 8 and designate numbers 9 and 10 as the alternates. So the topics would be approved today, and the actual text of these markers will be brought to you at the December board meeting.
Is there any discussion among the board members?
I just have a question. The remaining ones, do those just kind of stay in queue?
They'll have to reapply if they want to be considered again. And they're welcome to do so when we inform them of the outcome of the meeting, we provide a lot of advice about how they might be able to strengthen the application if they do wish to reapply.
And we've kind of moved from having just 5 to 8 now, right?
Yeah, we've been able to increase the number because we feel that our staff has the capacity to do that many. Right now, we have to limit ourselves to only 5 that would go in the VDOT right of way. So that remains a strict limit imposed by VDOT. But we do, looking sort of ahead at our next quarter's workload, we felt like we had the capacity at DHR to do a total of 8. So that includes ones that are not in VDOT's right of way, so that are located in towns or cities that maintain their right of ways.
Is there any other further discussion among the board? May I have a motion to approve the applications for consideration at the December board meeting as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Oh, sorry.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion passes.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have 3 non-DHR signs to consider. And the first is an interpretive sign for the Brown Grove Rural Historic District in Hanover County. This comes to us as a mitigation item for a road construction project. And here's the section of the Code of Virginia under which the board is reviewing this sign, which basically says that any signage erected in the public on a public street or roadway in Virginia needs to be approved by the Board of Historic Resources, no matter who's putting it up. And so we're asking for your approval of the design of this sign as well as the content. And here's a comparison. The design of the sign is clearly different in appearance from the state highway markers, and that's really what we need to highlight, that it is sufficiently different in appearance. And our staff did review the text of this sign and fact-checked it and can vouch for its accuracy. And for the record, here is that text, which appeared in board members' packet as well. So we'd like to ask the board for approval of both the design of this historic sign as well as the content.
Is there any discussion on the sign for Brown Grove Rural Historic District? Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve the design and text of the interpretive sign as presented?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion passes.
Thank you. Our second sign to consider is a Lafayette's Tour marker, and the board has already approved the design of this signage system back in March of 2024. So we're all set with that. And now we're just asking for approval of the information that would appear on the sign, which is very brief. Again, our staff fact-checked this and we found it to be accurate.
Is there any discussion among the board members? May I have a motion to approve the text of the Lafayette Tour marker as presented?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion passes.
Thank you. And our final item for the marker agenda today is the New Kent County Local Marker Program. Now, this is being considered under a different section of the Code of Virginia, which states that the governing body of any county, city, or town may establish its own historical marker program. And the responsibilities of the Board of Historic Resources are to basically verify that the local markers differ in style and appearance from state highway markers, and that they display prominent notice of the governing body of the locality. For local marker programs, Board of Historic Resources does not have to verify the content or the information on the signs. That's the responsibility of the locality. So here we have the proposed New Kent local marker. It is smaller than the state highway markers, has a different design at the top, and does have the prominent local county seal there, as well as a signature line at the bottom indicating that the New Kent Historic Commission is responsible for the information.
Is there any discussion among the board?
I guess the proportions are smaller, but
Yeah.
they're similar. But the questions, can see the logos.
Yeah, I think their model is actually the Maryland historical markers.
Yeah.
So that's kind of
So I was like,
the
where have I seen that?
template.
before?
Yeah.
May I have a motion to approve the design of the interpretive sign as presented?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion passes.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Dr. Lux.
Thank you.
On our last course of business today, focuses on the easement program. To start, Director Langdon has an update on the Virginia Union University addendum to the mitigation agreement.
I have a very brief update, but I did want to let you know that recently the revised addendum was forwarded to Virginia Union University by Andrew Tarn, our legal counsel, and we're awaiting a response from them. You may recall that at the last meeting in June, you authorized me to continue negotiations and to execute the addendum if it is agreeable to VUU on the terms that the revised addendum contains. So we are tracking in that direction, and I am going to hope that we can have this wrapped up by the end of the calendar year. And if you have any questions, Andrew or I would be happy to answer them. Okay, thank you.
Julie, I just one question, I'm sorry. With what you submitted, is there a deadline date on it for the response or?
No, we did not give them a deadline.
Okay,
In part because we didn't even discuss giving them a deadline. And I feel like the Commonwealth is as responsible for how long and protracted this has been as are they. So I'm hopeful that, like us, they too are wanting to get this resolved, but they were not given a deadline.
okay. Thank you. Thank you, Julie. Today's easement offers for consideration will now be presented by Kyle Edwards. We will vote on these offers as a block following his presentation.
Good afternoon. Thank you to the board for your time today to consider these easements. As Chair Rutherford said, I'll be presenting 3 new easement offers today, and hopefully won't keep you too long. First property today is the Mason Tract located on the 2nd Manassas Battlefield in Prince William County, Virginia. The applicant is the American Battlefield Trust, which will apply for grants from the American Battlefield Protection Program and Virginia Battlefield Preservation Fund to assist with the fee simple acquisition of the property. The Mason Tract consists of a single 2.7116 acre parcel located at the intersection of Groveton Road and General Longstreet's line. Today, the property is in residential and open space use and improved with a brick dwelling from the 1970s, as well as 2 frame sheds. The American Battlefield Trust intends to close on the property in January 2026. The Mason Tract is historically significant because it falls entirely within the core area of the 2nd Manassas Battlefield, which is given a priority 1.2 Class A rating from the Civil War Sites Advisory Commission. Priority 1 battlefields are those in critical need of action, while Class A are those that had a direct and decisive influence on the campaign and a direct impact on the course of the war. In this case, the battlefield is related to the Northern Virginia campaign of 1862. The Second Battle of Manassas took place between August 28th and August 30th, 1862, when the Union Army of Virginia was enveloped by 2 wings of the Confederate Army of Northern Virginia. On August 28th, the Confederates took a strong position along an unfinished railroad grade to the north of the Warrenton Pike, today US 29, and managed to hold that position through August 29th. By the morning of August 30th, an additional Confederate corps under Major General James Longstreet had arrived and taken position on the Union left along the Warrenton Pike. As the Union launched another attack north, believing the Confederates were retreating, the additional corps threw itself in full force against the Union left, shattering the lines and forcing the retreat to Chantilly. The Nason Tract was located on the Union left and was central to the fighting on the 29th and 30th, and the Second Battle of Manassas ended in a decisive Confederate victory with 22,180 total casualties. The defeat pushed the Union back within the fortifications of Washington, D.C., and cleared the way for Lee's invasion of Maryland. Also notable about this property, the Nason Tract adds to a growing corridor of conserved lands in the Zouave Hills subdivision, which is bounded by Groveton Road and the Manassas Battlefield Park. Further conservation in this area will help protect valuable open space in an area with significant development pressure. The Nason Tract was approved by the Easement Acceptance Committee on August 18, 2025, and recommended for board approval subject to the following conditions. 1, all leases must be subordinated to DHR's easement. 2, demolition of the existing non-historic dwellings and associated structures and rehabilitation of the landscape must be completed within 3 years from the date of easement recordation. 3, rehabilitation or restoration of the landscape shall be conducted according to a written rehabilitation plan, rehabilitation management plan negotiated by DHR and the American Battlefield Trust, and such plan shall be incorporated into the easement either directly or by reference. And 4, final review of the title work, title commitment, survey, draft easement, and other recorded and unrecorded documents affecting title to the property by the Office of the Attorney General. For this review, council may identify additional issues that require documentation. Our next property today is the Marshall Tract. The Marshall Tract is a single 0.849 acre parcel located along Route 15 in Remington, Virginia, on the north side of the Rappahannock River. The applicant is the American Battlefield Trust, and they acquired the property in 2018 with aid of an American Battlefield Protection Program grant and funds from Fauquier County. The property is currently vacant, but was most recently in residential use. Improvements include a 2-story dwelling, carport, and shed. After recordation of the easement, the property will be transferred to Fauquier County for incorporation into the Rappahannock Station Battlefield Park, already held under easement by the So essentially all the property to the northwest of this is already held under easement in a county park for Fauquier County. The Marshall Tract is historically significant because it lies within 3 Civil War battlefields as defined by the Report of the Nation Civil War battlefields, including 1st Rappahannock Station, which is a priority 2.4 Class D battlefield, 2nd Rappahannock Station, priority 4.1 Class B battlefield, and then the study area of the Brandy Station battlefield, priority 1.3 Class B battlefield. Most significant of these, the Marshall Tract is entirely within the core area of the 2nd Rappahannock Station battlefield, which occurred on November 7th, 1863, when Union forces under Major General George Meade launched coordinated attacks on the Confederate Army of Northern Virginia at Rappahannock Station and Kelly's Ford. At Rappahannock Station, the Union 6th Corps attacked a much smaller but well-fortified Confederate force on the north bank of the Rappahannock River on or adjacent to the subject property. The attack eventually pushed the Confederate force back within its earthworks. Fighting ended at dusk, but the Union mounted a surprise nighttime attack, which overwhelmed the Confederates, killing or capturing virtually all of the defenders. The Second Battle of Rappahannock Station ended with a Union victory and a total of 2,093 casualties. Following the battle, Lieutenant Colonel Walter Taylor, Lee's Assistant Adjutant General, wrote that this was, quote, the saddest chapter in the history of the Army of Northern Virginia. The Easement Acceptance Committee recommends acceptance of the Marshall Tract easement offer subject to the following conditions. 1, the cap on permitted collective footprint in the easement shall not exceed 3% or 1,109 square feet of the total area of the property size and shall be applicable to new improvements only. Trails and parking facilities which must be constructed of pervious material shall be excluded from this cap. 2, demolition of the existing non-historic buildings and structures and rehabilitation of the battlefield landscape must be completed within 3 years from the date of easement recordation. 3, rehabilitation and restoration of the battlefield landscape shall be conducted according to a written rehabilitation and management plan negotiated by DHR and the American Battlefield Trust, and such plan shall be incorporated into the easement either directly or by reference. And 4, final review of the title work, title commitment, survey, draft easement, other recorded and unrecorded documents affecting the title to the property by the Office of the Attorney General. Per this review, council may identify additional issues that require documentation. And our last property for today is the Goodale 2 tract. The Goodale 2 tract is located in eastern Henrico County at the intersection of Yaley Mill Road and the Darbytown Road. The applicant is the Richmond Battlefield Association, who purchased the property in 2014 with the help of a Virginia Battlefield Protection Fund grant awarded in 2015. The Goodale 2 tract consists of a single 5.7 acre parcel that is used for residential and agricultural purposes. The residential complex includes a 1937 frame dwelling along with associated buildings and amenities. The dwelling is currently occupied by an elderly tenant who has a life estate over the property. Of note, the property adjoins the Dean 2 tract held under easement by the board and creates a corridor of approximately 54 acres owned by the Richmond Battlefield Association relating to Confederate positions during the Second Battle of Deep Bottom. The Goodale 2 tract is historically significant because it lies within the boundaries of 3 Civil War battlefields identified by the Civil War Sites Advisory Commission, including First Deep Bottom, a priority 2.3 Class C battlefield, Second Deep Bottom, a priority 1.3 Class B battlefield, and the Battle of Fair Oaks and Darbytown Road, a no data priority Class C battlefield. Most significantly, the property is entirely within the core of the Second Deep Bottom battlefield. This battle occurred from August 13th to August 20th when Lieutenant General Ulysses S. Grant moved the Union 2nd and 10th Corps along with a detachment of cavalry north of the James River to draw Confederate forces away from the defenses of Petersburg. Despite early Union successes, the battle ultimately ended in a stalemate, with the Union withdrawing across the James. In total, the battle cost approximately 4,600 casualties, but left battle lines largely the same. The Battle of Second Deep Bottom is significant because of its association with African-American military heritage and the contributions made by the USCT and colored volunteers during the Civil War. In August 1864, units of the 29th Regiment of Connecticut Infantry and the 7th and 9th USCT infantry regiments were engaged in battle activity at Fusel's Mill and Deep Bottom, located to the south of the property. The Easement Acceptance Committee recommends acceptance of the Goodale 2 tract easement, offer subject to the following conditions. 1, demolition and removal of the existing historic or existing non-historic buildings and structures, and rehabilitation of the battlefield landscape shall be completed within 4 years of expiration of the life estate. 2, rehabilitation of the battlefield landscape shall be conducted according to a written rehabilitation management plan negotiated by DHR and the Richmond Battlefield Association. Such plan shall be incorporated to the easement either directly or by reference. And 3, final review of the title work, title commitment, survey, draft easement, and other recorded and unrecorded documents affecting title to the property by the Office of the Attorney General. Per this review, council may identify additional issues that require documentation or action. So that is it for our new easements today. If the board has any questions, please feel free to ask.
Yeah, I had a question about the Nason tract. I was curious.
Yes.
I mean, you said the purchase is not final till January.
Right.
So how can we approve that now before a purchase happens?
Typically, and I think the case is the case with this one, the Battlefield Trust and other organizations will have a purchase agreement with the property owner. So they're already under contract to close on the property. The closing just won't happen until January. And a lot of this has to do with when the grant funds can be dispersed for their acquisition.
So who's placing the easement on?
It will be our easement. So
Our easement.
ABT will be purchasing the property and then donating the easement on the property to the Commonwealth.
We negotiate with the American.
After closure
Yes.
or at closing?
It depends.
Okay.
At this point for this one, it will likely be after. But yeah, typically, sometimes this happens where it's purchased and then the donation occurs after that.
Okay. Thank you.
Can I just quick, on the Rappahannock Station battlefield, just for significance, wasn't that the first Union cavalry victory of the war?
Well, at Rappahannock Station, I'm not sure.
Because I know Brandy
Station
was a push.
Yes, Brandy Station was a push, but is considered the turning point in the balance of power cavalry rise.
That's right.
And during Brandy Station, the Rappahannock Station battlefield area is part of that battlefield, but it's kind of staging before they cross the river in the early morning hours. So I chose to focus on Rappahannock Station 2 because that's when things were happening there.
Okay.
Which is
if you need more help on the significance, that might be something.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. But no, I did write a book. I wrote a book on the Civil War, but not that. And then also, did you say there were 22,000 casualties at Second Manassas?
Yeah, Second
Wow.
Manassas at that point is one of the
I did not know that.
most costly battles prior to, and I think it gets lost because Antietam is coming up around the corner.
Right, that's right.
But it's pretty terrible.
Wow. Okay. Is there any discussion of today's 3 easement offers among the board? Okay. May I have a motion to approve the 3 easement offers for consideration as a block as presented by Kyle?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion passes.
Thank you to the board. And before.
Yeah, thank you. I was going to say thank you. We will conclude with notification of the easements recorded since our last meeting.
Yes.
I think you're up, Kyle, again.
Yes, I was one step ahead of you. I'm sorry.
It's right.
Before we adjourn, I'll present the 3 easements we have recorded since our last meeting. First is the Wiseman tract. This was actually a deed of assignment. So this property was under easement with the Virginia Outdoors Foundation, and that easement has been assigned to DHR and the board for incorporation in the Culpeper Battlefield State Park. So this is an important step in the completion of phase 2 of that project, which involves our easement properties around Cedar Mountain Battlefield. Next, we have the Buckland Church. The Buckland Church property is just under an acre located in Buckland, Virginia, which is right on Route 29 on the border of Prince William and Fauquier County near Broad Run. Buckland Church is both listed historic district and within the Buckland Mills battlefield. This easement was recorded on August 29th, 2025. And received funding from the American Battlefield Protection Program, as well as mitigation funds from a Section 106 project called the Midwood Center Project and the Carter Mill Project. That actually also funded the acquisition of the Peeler tract, which some of you may remember from 18 months ago now. So a few more properties coming in from Buckland. And then lastly, we have the Mahler tract. This was a property off Featherbed Lane at the Second Manassas Battlefield. The donor was the American Battlefield Trust, and the property contained approximately 3.1 acres. And it's surrounded by land protected by the National Park. These members recorded on August 29th, 2025.
Thank you, Kyle. No vote is required among the board on Kyle's presentation of the easements recorded. So thanks very much, Kyle. Great work. Are there any closing comments from the board regarding today's meeting? May I have a
Thank you to the new chair.
Oh, thank you, Vice Chair. Thank you to Jamie for your help.
Right.
May I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Move adjournment.
Is there a second?
Second.
The meeting of the Board of Historic Resources is adjourned.